I'm getting ready to drive back from McAllen to South Padre Island. It's about an hour and 30-minute drive. We're going to use the full self-driving Autopilot version 10.4. I haven't engaged it yet. I'm still driving. And I'm just trying to take it a little different route than what it kind of wants to do. So I'm overriding that right now. I've had a few little issues around here with the Autopilot, or the full self-driving, I mean, not Autopilot. Most of this will be Interstate. And it's one to come up here, so I'm engaging it now. The issues that I ran into that I see is that it doesn't see dips too well on the road, and it takes them pretty fast, which is not good. Just thinking about it, but these guys are spread out too much here. Still thinking about it. I try not to intervene as much as possible, and it's going for it now. But like I say, down here in the Brownsville area, we have a lot of little dips in the road, and the car tends to bottom out on those dips every now and then. And doing that, it ripped off some of the retainer clips on the aero shield, so I'm having to get that replaced Tuesday, because it kind of bottomed out going for that dip at too high of a speed. Those are at the intersections too. They usually recommend, you know, like 20 miles through the intersections, which is a very slow amount when you're trying to catch a green light. But otherwise, it runs into issues with that. And right now it's trying to see, figuring out where that guy's walking to. But he's walking behind the car. We do have a lot of traffic. I do have lunch that I'm going to try to eat here once we get moving more. So pardon me for that. Been driving Uber, trying to make up some money. So had a ride that brought me all the way up here. So now I'm heading back to the island. I would like to try to get over to SpaceX to be able to take some more pictures and do some live streams there, but it's just kind of hard at times. It's creeping at this red light, and it is waiting for these cars to go, which is good because you don't know how wide they're going to take it. And it is now going. That's green. I do have it on the assertive mode. I should drop it down to chill again, but it does make me a little nervous after, you know, all the amount of work I've had done on this car, from accidents, people hitting me. It makes me nervous. Some of these people are not the best people, best drivers in the world. I know we have a lot of construction up here. While we're at it, I might grab something at least. I haven't eaten anything all day long, so. So right now SpaceX has some road closure changes, moved off, a lot been canceled and been changed. Not exactly sure what they are planning to do. They do have some test tanks out there, so they might be doing some pressure tests on those. Again, if you join the channel, I can't read the chats. I can't see if y'all are sending me messages or anything. Sorry about that. I'm hoping the audio is okay. Hoping my eating is not too annoying. But I figured I'd try a live stream. Let's see how long we can stay connected. If we'll stay connected or not, I don't know. It should be connected now. Let me see. Yeah, it looks like we're connected. I tend to let the car try to do what it's doing. I've had a lot of nice long drives with no interventions at all, and sometimes just the weird thing like it wanting to get on a sidewalk. I don't know why, and I'm not saying it attempted to, it actually did, but that was on the island, so they don't have any curbs going to the sidewalk, and it just kind of went up onto the sidewalk thinking it was a turn lane. Now that could be an issue with the car being confused with the map. The problem with South Padre Island is that they changed the roads quite a bit. So the maps will say there are turns where there are not turns because they have these concrete barriers in the middle of the road now that they switch up every couple of years, it appears. So one year where there was no concrete and a turn, and there's concrete and no turn now. The island also has a lot of U-turns for a lot of things. I've yet to have the car do any U-turns. I don't even know if it's part of the full self-driving capability or not. I'm trying to recall someone's video that they may have done a U-turn in it. But as far as just one in the street on the island, no, it hasn't done any of those yet. A Tesla Model 3 doesn't have the greatest cornering ability. You know, the wheels only turn so far. So when you do a U-turn, you have to go over a couple of lanes to do it. But right now we have the full self-driving engaged. I'm keeping the hands on the wheels. I'm paying attention. I got the camera mounted about eye level, so you're seeing what I pretty much see, or what someone will be seeing if they're sitting in the middle in the back seat. I could do a wide angle, move the camera further closer, so y'all can probably see out the sides too, but that would be kind of too distorted, I think. But I'm trying to get comfortable with the full self-driving. Not so much get comfortable with it, but without having my car for 3 months and being in a rental car, I'm trying to get used to driving a Tesla again. And on top of that, the full self-driving. So we're heading back to the island right now. It's just on the main road in McAllen. I don't think there'll be any crazy turns on this. There's a lot of construction on the interstate, so I may have to tell it to change lanes every now and then, or tell it not to go in a certain lane. It used to mess up on that quite a bit up here. But like I say, that could be a mapping issue or what have you. I'm not sure what all's been changing here. There's a lot of construction up in this area. And pretty heavy traffic. The person I did pick up on the island to bring up here We left the hotel and we came all the way up here, right to their destination for an hour-and-a-half drive. 0 interventions. It handled everything perfectly. Now this is where one of the issues are going to come up. It's thinking there's an on-ramp here, but there is no on-ramp here. They have it blocked off. So how is it going to handle it? It was trying to turn, but now it sees it's not there. So it is actually doing pretty good. I'm gonna have it slow down here and see if it will come into here. And no, it's gonna pass it. Oh, okay, so I'm taking over there. That I can understand because, like I say, this is a new section that's was not here before. They've changed things. And this should be switching over to the Interstate navigate on Autopilot, which it just did. Which is not going to be easy because I got to get over 2 lanes here. So I'm trying to nudge it forward if someone will let me in. And they are not letting me in, which is going to be, and I can't block this traffic. So we're going to have to abort that. Maybe this truck will let me in. Yeah, looks like he's yielding. Yep, he flashed the lights. And the car's moving over. That's good. Now we need to go over one more. Because this lane goes to the right, the other one goes the direction we need. And trying to find an opening. I did give a little tap on the accelerator there as we're trying to find someone to let us over. Okay, I'm taking over there because it didn't want to move on its own. The fun part of full self-driving. But it'd be nice if we had more courteous drivers out there letting people in. But when I was trying to get over, there was a car right next to me, and he just kept keeping the speed with me, wouldn't yield, wouldn't speed up. I sometimes feel like some people do that on purpose. Now, would I trust full self-driving at this time to go to sleep while driving? No. And we can't do that, of course. We got to pay attention. It's not there yet. Like I say, there's some things that we have to intervene with. I have also noticed it does not see no turn on red signs. So if I'm at a stoplight that's red and it needs to make a right-hand turn, it's going to run it, which is not good. It needs to see those no turn on red signs. Now here we're coming up to a little bitty area where we're merging into the traffic on the interstate. I'm letting the car do everything. It's handling it, it's matching speeds. I don't see that hard braking that I used to see before when we came into people coming on the on-ramp, onto the road from the on-ramp, or when going onto the on-ramp. I don't see that anymore. And earlier today, I had someone walking across the street. He was just in the beginning of the left-hand lane, not towards the middle of it. And unlike what the car used to do, it did not jam on the brakes. It kept going because it knew that it could pass where the guy was before he got there. So it was a safe decision and no jamming on brakes. My concern is whenever the car does do any phantom braking or what have you, is it watching the cars behind it, making sure someone's not right there on my tail. And here we're coming up with a nice little traffic jam. The right lane is closed, so everybody's trying to move over to this lane. Hopefully they will start adding more options of reading signs when lanes are closed, because I've had a few times where the car will try to get into the right lane, which is closed, or going to be closed, to pass. But so far it's doing smoothly. And you get that little beep every now and then in construction areas to make sure you're paying attention. Usually when we're on the interstate, we have a little bit longer period of time that we can actually take our hands off of the wheels when you're not in heavy traffic. I find that if I stop putting resistance on the wheel in heavy traffic, it will prompt more frequently, because you need to be paying more attention then. The car is trying to get over into the faster lane. But by the time it does that, it doesn't need to. And like I say, the beeping is for all the cones. Yeah, I wish if whenever it gets into a faster lane or tries to get into a faster lane that and have to wait like that, if it would automatically abort if it sees the current lane is getting faster again. It would save the back and forth. I do have my lane changes on the Navigate on Autopilot set to a mild setting, but I have the full self-driving beta set to aggressive or assertive. So I don't know if that overrides it. I do want to keep my distance though. Like I say, I'm a little more paranoid with all the construction and everything. And with the amount of time my car's been down this year, I don't need an accident. I need to make some money right now. If you drive Uber for a living, Uber is taking more of the fare, close to 45% now. Which is, you know, not good on my part, but it's good on my part that I drive a Tesla and I'm not spending a lot of money on gas. Now, it was kind of nice that car just kind of cut in front of me there, and the car did not jam on its brakes, which is good, since I do have some heavy traffic behind me. I don't know. Yeah, you can see him coming up behind me. I don't like it when they're on my tail like that. So I just hope the car won't jam on the brakes. It would be nice that if someone was on your tail that the car would do a brake check. Not actually put the brakes on, but just flash the brake lights to try to get them to back off. That would be nice. Make them think we might be stopping. And now the car is switching back to the middle lane. A couple $100 there. but right now it's being held on with 4 zip ties. I did try duct tape, but the wind flow on this car just rips that duct tape right off, no matter how well I try to put it on there. As the car is switching lanes again to pass. Again, I don't know if you can see, but I do have my hand on the wheel. The camera does monitor, so if I look away too long, it will abort. So you have to be paying attention. It's 4 in the afternoon and I finally picked up lunch. Haven't eaten yet. So if y'all don't mind, I'm gonna try to grab a bite. I went with just a hamburger. I know it's not good, not healthy, but it was quick and not overly priced. A place called Burger King. And I can tell you one thing, you know, I stopped at Burger King for one reason. They don't have any customers, so it's fast. Seems like all the McDonald's here have huge lines. And I'm in a hurry. Whataburger's good, but they make everything fresh, so it takes a while. Burger King used to be popular. I don't know what happened over the years. It's just not the same anymore. I don't know if there's any fast food y'all like. Or what type of restaurant y'all prefer. I do like the restaurants on the island. Their food is good. And a little bit more expensive than fast food, but it's surprising how close it could be for better food. I was really surprised about South Padre Island when I got down here. I was thinking it'd be more like, you know, going down to Miami or what have you, and everything be overpriced. These restaurants are decent prices. Some of the activities are fairly decent prices. I'm eating too fast, sorry. Some things I would love to see with the full self-driving, data to your thumb drive or something to help build that map. I would love to see this navigation map not just be provided by Google, but to be a hybrid Tesla/Google, so that since if I drove here, it would add my data to that map, the Tesla data, and go by whoever's most current. So if another Tesla went this route say last week, it uses that Tesla's data. That would help a lot with construction and identifying things that change. Because like on South Padre Island, like I was saying, there's a lot of turns there that you can't make anymore. You have to, because they put barriers up, permanent barriers. They change the traffic pattern. And so we got to wait till the next time Google comes by and remaps it for it to show up on here. There's some back roads where it shows a road for a turn that was undoubtedly planned but never done. So it throws the conniption in the car, because instead of making a slow, leisurely right turn on another road that goes to the other one, you have to come to a stop and make a hard right, which is hard for the car because it's expecting the slow turn, so it's going at a full speed that it could take it at 55 miles per hour, and then it finds out it's not there, so it's jamming on the brakes because it has to come to a stop. So to have the car to be able to send that data as far as the differences in the road, what the map is expecting and what the car sees, would actually help a lot. And it wouldn't be a lot of data, really. I mean, if the map is accurate, no need to update. But like back there where that exit ramp, that on-ramp changed, it'd be nice to be able to have that updated so it knew that the traffic pattern was different. I had to take over on that one. That semi-truck just started coming to my lane, and I could feel the car getting ready to move over, but I wasn't going to risk it. But that's what I mean. You got to watch out for these people. He had no turn signal on or anything. Whenever you have a situation like that, your dash cam stores the previous 10 minutes. You can blow your horn, they'll automatically save it at that point. Or you can try to stay calm, wait until it's clear and safe, and then hit it. You don't have to rush. I don't know if from the angle of the camera you can see that he was coming into the lane or not. I don't know if it was up on here. Since I wasn't staring at that, I'm watching the road. it does stress me out with the other drivers sometimes, but I'm trying to relax. Without my car for the last for the 3 months due to that accident, something similar to that, it really upsets me. I'm still trying to get out of the hole that put me in. And what had happened, I was coming to Houston, it was raining pretty heavily. I was keeping good distance like this to the car in front of me because of the heavy rain and the slippery roads, because it just started raining. And this other guy comes from 2 lanes on the right, comes all the way over, comes into my lane, and we're only doing 30 miles per hour, cuts in front of me. The car is trying to slow down and get the gap again, but before it can even get the gap, he just comes to a complete stop. And after hydroplaning into him, I was able to start moving off the road, but he just pulls away and drives off and goes back in the lane he came from. Undoubtedly, he came over thinking he didn't want to exit, or that wasn't his exit, got into my lane, realized, oh, that was the right exit, and came to a stop because he cut off other vehicles as well. So he decided to come to a stop in my lane until it was clear for him to go back to that lane. For some reason, the insurance did not go after him. The police department did not give him a ticket or anything, didn't give me a ticket or anything. He said the guy didn't report any accidents or anything. But that kind of left me holding the bag. So I had to pay $450 a week for a rental vehicle because I did not have rental vehicle coverage on my insurance because I had a Tahoe back home. That 6 hours before I started heading this way, I signed over to somebody who was going to buy it and pay monthly payments, who has decided he's not going to pay for it. So he basically stole a Tahoe from me. I kind of trusted his uncle, but it's disappointing. So I got stuck with having to pay for a rental vehicle. Not to mention paying for the hotel. And the way Uber Eats works, you can't drive people on a rental vehicle, except for in certain areas, and only if you rent through Uber or from authorized Uber car rental. And there is none down here. So that kind of killed my income. I was making very little money. Now they got the Tesla back, I can start making a little bit of money again. I don't have the car rental expense anymore. I don't have the gas expense anymore. So now I keep more of what I was making. Before, all I was doing Uber Eats in the car was just barely covering the car rental. But that put me way in the hole. Before the accident, I was buying more equipment to get up ready for live streaming to cover events over there at SpaceX in Boca Chica. And, it's stuff that, I kind of wanted to do. I kind of regret, in a way, doing it, but it's already done. What am I to do? Am I to take all my stuff to a pawn shop and pawn it and get a half a cent on the dollar for it? No. I am doing whatever I can to try to make it by. I'm trying to get money back in the account. It's been very slow. A like and subscribe helps the channel. If I can get some more viewers, and if I get more views on videos and stuff, then maybe the channel will start paying for itself and I could do a lot more. I am not trying to make YouTube my full-time job. But if it got to that point, I would not mind that. I would not mind going over to SpaceX, sitting there all day, watching what's going on, filming and sending it to y'all. But I have bills to pay. And I'm not going to sit there and hold my breath that I might make the money, I might not make the money. I have to get ahead first and be able to afford it. So right now, any live streaming I do, it's what I can afford to do. Even right now, I'm doing a live stream from McAllen all the way back to South Padre Island. I have the Uber app off, so I'm not taking any rides right now. So I'm potentially losing money. I could have it on and take any rides that might be going in that direction. And that will pay for my return drive. But that's hard to say. And I really should do that. But, you know, I might just go ahead and turn the app on and just have it going to that direction. And if I do get a ride, I can always just stop the stream there once I go pick the people up. Okay, so I got it on, and the island, you know, Harlingen has a airport waiting list or waiting lot where you go to get in line to pick up rides. So you have to go to that spot, and it's individual drivers at that time. They should do that on the island. The island is too small, too few people on the island, and it's too easy for other drivers to come in and block, which they do quite a bit. I've been living in a hotel, so I turn the app on, and it goes by whoever's closest. And so I've had people come in and park at the hotel next to mine. That way they'll get anybody from that hotel all the way north of me and block out all the rides. Now it's taking the proper off-ramp to this interstate change, going for Interstate 2 to Interstate 69 East. You still have to pay attention, but the car does a very good job. It does make the driving a lot more relaxing. Because I'm not sitting there having to pay attention to the exits or the interchanges so much, since the car is doing that. So I can keep just scanning all the other flesh drivers, I'm going to call them. These flesh drivers in the machines, and let my silicone driving computer handle it. It sees this, and it's doing a nice job braking, letting the truck get over. It sees that the lines are merging, that's good. The old Autopilot would not do that. It would just kind of jam on the brakes. So I am a lot happier with the reduction in jamming on brakes on this Navigate on Autopilot. The Navigate on Autopilot is usually what's used on Interstate, but I've noticed they're on highways now too. Once we get off of here, heading down to South Padre Island, it uses the Navigate on Autopilot where it didn't before, because it wasn't an interstate. And even between South Padre Island and Boca Chica, when you're going up that way, it uses the Navigate on Autopilot for some of that route, especially when it's over 65, 75 miles per hour. I have had my car since, been officially driving it since May of 2020. I've already put 96,000 miles on it. I've driven to New York City, Cape Canaveral, Florida many a times, Roswell, New Mexico, Nashville, Tennessee. I've just been driving and driving like no other. And 99% of the time I use the full Autopilot and Navigate on Autopilot. It's the point where I've really do trust it on the interstates. It's been pretty solid. And in this situation, the car came in front of me. It's showing it, his brake lights came on, but it looks from the angle of the sun shining on it and the shadows makes the lights look like they're flickering. So sometimes the car thinks the brake lights, like you can see them coming on over here, and that's because that van is going through some shadows, which is changing the color of the lights in the back. So the car is monitoring where the tail lights are and seeing a change in color and assuming that the difference in change may be the lights coming on, which is understandable. I much rather think they're tapping the brake than to think that they're not. So I don't mind that. The car doesn't overreact to it. It is, measuring everything, so I'm pretty sure it knows how fast that vehicle's going. So even if it sees it flicker, it can tell that its speed hasn't changed. Since it's sampling so many different frames a second, it can figure that out a lot quicker than I can. Or maybe not as quick as I can. Sometimes we have a natural tendency of noticing things. I couldn't tell you the speed, but I can tell you when the speed's changing. So, but that is, from, training. Now, someone who needs to know the speed, like a police officer, he can probably look at a truck and tell that truck's going 74, 75, whatever speed, just from watching speeders all the time. And right now I do have the Uber app on, and I have it set to accept only rides going towards my destination. So if someone had a ride going the opposite direction, I would not see that. But so far I haven't seen anything, and I am getting quite far from the airport here in Harlingen, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it off now for the rest of the ride. Haven't made much money today, only $89 so far, but that's better than nothing. So I'll probably be driving till late again tonight to try to make as much money as possible. Like I say, I have to dig out of the hole the accident put me in. It hasn't been easy. Some of the people I know needed a ride to SpaceX. I wasn't there on the island to give them a ride because I had a ride going up to McAllen. You never know where you're going until you pick a person up. If I had more notice, I wouldn't have taken that ride. I try to be available for them when they need rides. Because that also gives me a reason to go over there and take some pictures while I'm over there. So I can go over and take, spend 10, 15 minutes taking pictures and get out. BN5 has been fully stacked in the high bay. I don't know if y'all been following, but that's now been fully stacked.
Unknown caller.
That's probably... Hello? Hello? And good old spam call. I really do hate those. I'm not sure what my cable's hung on there. But now we're coming up to an exit here, so the full self-driving on autopilot will take over once we're on the on-ramp. We'll see how that does. It should not be an issue. I have not gone this route with the full self-driving before. My previous video that I have was showing the ride from the Huntington Airport the back way, and that impressed me, the way it handled that intersection. Because that intersection, I physically have to turn around in the seat to look over my shoulder to see if it's clear. That's a very hard intersection. But with the cameras on the outside of the car, it could see clearly. A lot of the filters and stuff in the cameras are usually software filters that make the view better for us, from what we see here. But Tesla's kind of switching up the filters for the self-driving, because the cameras, digital computer cameras, webcams and what have you, have extra filters added to them to block out infrared and a few other things. Now, some of the old cameras, if you knew what you're doing, you could take off the right filter and you can actually see heat signatures through a wall with it on your standard webcam. But the manufacturers put in a filter to block that because the sensor actually detects a lot more than what we can see. Now, if these cameras in the Tesla, if they actually have physical filters on them, I'm not sure. It could all be software filters, which would be ideal. And I'm kind of hoping is what Tesla did when they used the cameras, was using a software filter. Okay, it's coming up to this exit here. And like I said, I haven't really done anything. It took one time for that dump truck. We're now back in the full self-driving beta mode here. It's coming up. The traffic crossing does not have the right. We've had some road construction here. Before it was down to 1 lane or 2 lanes on the right-hand side, but they finished the construction on the left-hand side, so now it's going to the left-hand side. So the traffic patterns kind of changed. I'm not sure what that sign said. It looked like Elon. No, it couldn't have been Elon. Some plants for sale, some vegetables. Got a lot of farming country out here. I've seen sugarcane, corn. I was going to say cotton candy, but I'm not sure. But it's amazing when you bump into some people that I'm pretty sure someone out there thinks cotton candy grows somewhere. And when you bump into someone who believes stuff like that, don't laugh in their face. Just kind of try to be polite. The same with if you bump into a flat earther, don't try to argue with them. It's a losing battle. They're convinced they're right and everybody else is wrong, and there is nothing you can do to convince them or prove them differently. Once you got someone like that who doesn't have an open mind and who has their thoughts fixed like that, it's very difficult. Now they say we're the ones that don't have an open mind. But I don't know. It would really suck if it turned out the Earth was flat and those few people who believe it were right. That would really suck. But I am pretty sure it is not. The universe is a lot more wondrous than a flat piece of ground with a dome. There's a lot more things to see out there. I got their cheddar bites, or whatever they call them at Burger King. I don't like their French fries. And they didn't have the onion rings, and those aren't good either. I mean, they used to be good when they're real onions, but now they're using the dried onions, and that's probably why no one goes to Burger King anymore. And the commercials of their mascot, the king, waking up in the bed next to the guy. I'm sorry. Car's changing lanes to pass this person here on his own. Now I'd love to do more videos of the full self-driving, which is kind of hard to have a camera mounted here to film while I'm driving people with Uber. Maybe they wouldn't mind. Maybe they would say some things, but then again, you have to control what they might say. Another thing I noticed that whenever you hit the scroll bar to scroll down, change the speed slower, it takes a lot longer to slow down now. I try to do that when I'm coming up to intersections that I know have dips, instead of trying to step on the brake and disengage the autopilot, but it doesn't work. Right now, if you run into an issue, we got a little button up here that we can push. I really don't like it there. It should be like right here. Someplace easy. We need it to be within reach so that we don't have to reach all the way over. Because it's also right next to the profiles to change the seats. So it's too easy to actually hit the profiles and not that little camera. So we do have this little gray bar area here that you know, anywhere down here would be good to have a report button. It's not like if I tap on a vehicle it's going to do anything. But as you can see, it's seeing the person walking on the side of the street over here. It's seeing the cars in people's driveways and even in the parking lots across the street and stuff. It sees this car coming out in front of us here and is braking for it. And it sees this vehicle coming into our lane, or it was aiming for our lane, so it started braking early for it until it straightened out. Right now, the car still doesn't see emergency vehicles as far as their lights and everything. Not sure why the car is coming to a stop. It's trying to, well, it's trying to figure out this lane here. And it wants to get on that right-hand lane, which would have been appropriate in the past because this lane was closed. And it still thinks it's going to be closed, so it still wants to get over. So I'm having to abort the lane changes. It's still trying. I had to abort there. It was trying to take a roundabout behind here. I should have paid attention to that and let it do its thing. So that was my mistake. The car was trying to get over there to make a right turn so it could avoid this construction area. It's trying to figure out where to go. I'm letting it go. And I'm taking over there. It is getting way too confused with all this construction here. So yeah, it's having some issues with this construction area. Which might have been good if I would have let it do what it wanted to do the first time to avoid that. And it goes all the way over. That was really wonky. I didn't care for that. So we should have another speed change here coming up. And it's doing it just before the speed limit sign. Before it wouldn't start changing the speed till after you passed it. Braking a little earlier than I would for that truck, but I do have to keep distance at 7, so yeah. I am hoping the stream is still going. I'm hoping I'm still connected. I'm not sure. We've been through different areas. Cell signal might have dropped out. I don't know. It looks like it's still streaming. And I know, you know, some people saying, hey, the car's driving itself. You know, why don't you check your phone, check for messages, because I got a text message that's bugging the hell out of me. It's not going to stop until I open the phone and go to it. And now the car is changing lanes to follow route. It's now on navigate on autopilot as the speed picked up on this road. So for some reason it likes to be in this lane for this part of the route, which in a way I can kind of understand because we got businesses over here and driveways. It gives it more time if someone's pulling out, they can be in that lane, or someone's going to pull in. We don't have to worry about that. So it kind of makes sense. Anyway, we have about 24 more minutes for me to get back to the island. This is a standard range plus. It's what I could afford at the time when I bought it. I really wish I had a long range. Model Y would have been nice, but I just didn't have that little extra money at the time. So this is the one I got. It does make it harder on long trips. I got to stop more often. And also the standard range does not charge as fast as the long range. So even if I do hit a 250 kilowatt supercharger, it's not going to go up to 250. It's going to max out at 175, I think it was. Right now we can see the Sapphire Tower is off in the distance here. Should be coming into the camera's view over here. That's the Sapphire Towers on South Padre Island. Just an FYI, once the Starship and booster are stacked together, they will be about 10 feet short of that. And it's a little bit hazy, but from here we can kind of make out SpaceX over there, launch tower. It's actually over that way, sorry. Probably outside of your field of view. Yeah, I can see the sun glinting off of the starships. I think that, yeah, it looks like that way. It's hard to say, quite a far ways at this time. Trying to do the math on the angle. That should be about right. Right over that way, yeah. Yep, yeah, it's that way. Off to the right. Now we're back onto the full self-driving beta 10.4 for the remainder of the drive. As we're coming up to Laguna Vista, the speed has changed. It seems to really take its time slowing down. It's not in a rush to go down to the speed, which I don't really like, because that's just a lot more distance to get a ticket. It needs to progress whenever the speed decreases, especially like around here. When you hit that 45 mile per hour speed limit, that is what speed you're supposed to be going at when you hit it. It's not when you start going down to 45. You have to be at that when you hit that sign. So the Tesla has a little bit issue with that here. As far as the local police are concerned, they will consider you speeding, even though you might be braking or trying to slow down. Saw the bicyclist there. Oh. Sometimes it's a long drive. Like I say, once I start getting back into a pattern where I'm making money again and getting ahead, then I'll have more free time to make more videos, both here and at SpaceX, and self-driving videos too. But right now, my main concentration is to make as much money as possible to get back out of debt, pay off the credit cards from the downtime I had. Haven't without the car for 3 months. It's not Tesla's fault. It's really not. It's a third-party body shop, partially to blame, but also logistics. You know, when they got my car in, they needed a couple parts. They ordered the parts from Tesla. Tesla shipped the parts promptly. The very next week, the body parts place got the parts in from UPS freight, but it was damaged. So they had to order again. And they're in a remote city, so UPS freight only delivers once a week. So even though that they ordered again and it was expedited. Now see, that was a person running into the lane. The car normally would have jammed on the brakes, but the car is doing a lot better knowing that that guy was not going to be in my lane anytime soon. So it didn't bother slowing down, didn't bother braking, and maintain its speed, and it stayed over here. That was good. That's a big change. Before the full self-driving package on the older Autopilot, advanced Autopilot, it would have jammed on the brakes. It would have started beeping and came to a complete stop for him, even though he was just coming into the road. So I appreciate that gets rid of those awkward stops for people running in the road. Because people run and try to cross traffic and they try to time it going behind the vehicle. And it looked pretty close, like that's what he was doing. He was coming pretty close. He went right behind my vehicle and continued on. The car allowed that. I like that. But anyway, UPS freight only delivers once a week. So when the parts got damaged, the body shop reordered. And FedEx or Tesla expedited the order. But like I said, the depot only delivers once a week, so the parts didn't show up very soon. And since the parts didn't show up Wednesday, they figured maybe it was still en route. It'd be there Tuesday, or didn't get there until Tuesday. The UPS hub in Harlingen. So the body shop waited yet another week till the next Wednesday. And still no parts. So when they started looking, they found out UPS freight lost the parts. So they gave them a couple more weeks, which makes a total of a month, since they waited 2 weeks the first time before they found out, before they actually reordered the parts again. They reordered the parts, and UPS freight damaged them again. So they reordered again, and UPS freight damaged them again. This is 3 damaged shipments, 1 lost shipment. And then finally, the last order did not come in damaged, thankfully. This is not Tesla's problem. Tesla had the parts. Tesla shipped the parts. UPS freight was the one damaging them or losing them. And when you have a freight shipment sitting in a shipping yard for an entire week for the next time that Jimbo decides to drive it up there, or whatever his name is, Jose, or I don't know who's driving the truck, who drives the shop next time, it's getting moved around that area. It can get misplaced. It can get lost. It can be loaded on the wrong truck. It can be damaged. And that's what keeps happening. So yeah, I'm not happy about that. I should have had my car back in a couple weeks, not 3 months. 10 weeks longer than it should have been. And at $450 a week for rental car, that's a lot of money gone. It's so aggravating. Now, right now, the full self-driving, beta 10.4 is doing a very nice job here. It's nothing tricky, nothing it shouldn't figure out. The right-hand lane on the bridge is closed, so it's going to have to get over. We'll see how it handles that. I usually go ahead and tell it to get over, but this time I'm not going to do that. I'm going to wait till it starts seeing the cones. Well, I don't know. After that semi-truck, I may have it get over sooner anyway. I don't want to push my luck. Now here we have a light on a curve. The road kind of goes like this. So the car hits the turn signal every now and then. I don't know why, just for a few seconds. It's not going to physically turn, but yet it's going to kind of turn. So there's no lines here at all. So it's hard for the car to figure out exactly where the lines on the road. They need to paint the lines. They have a lot of construction going on the bridge. They should get a bucket of paint and to paint these lines one day. They're getting way too worn. It'll make life a little bit easier. We're currently in Port Isabel, coming up on the bridge to South Padre Island. Lights turning red, cars coming to stop, so is traffic, which is not uncommon for the Autopilot. The fun part is trying to get in the hotel parking lot. It cannot handle that turn. It's confused by it. There are no lines to the road going to the hotel, to the supercharger. And it just gives the car a conniption fit trying to figure out what to do. Now, it would be nice if the full self-driving will start reading construction signs and actually understand them. Because, it should, right here, where it has the right lane closed ahead, 1,000 feet, it should know that and start working over. But it doesn't read the signs, just some signs, just speed limit signs, stop signs, yield signs. So the cones are coming up. It's trying to figure out what to do. Okay, so it is moving over. So that's good at least. So it did notice that. And it does beep whenever there's a lot of cones. Now, I keep noticing that these cones kind of show up in the middle of the road sometimes. I'm not sure why. I've calibrated the cameras before. And they seem to follow the truck. So I don't know if it's seeing something on the truck and getting it confused the cones. I don't know if y'all can see that, how the cones are following the truck. as if the truck is dragging cones with it. And they do push these construction barrels a little bit into this lane, so it makes it a little tight. Not as tight as it was before. Before, cannot tell you how many vehicles slammed into this concrete wall at night, because all they do is put these little white markers on there. They need to put an orange stripe on it or something that's more visible. And you know what makes me nervous is, yeah, the car wants to get into the right-hand lane after this, and it's signaling right now, so it kind of makes me nervous that it's going to go ahead and try to do it through the concrete barrier. But I've learned to kind of relax and let it do its thing. It's going to wait till after the barrels and does it. But it still scares me when it puts the signal on that soon. And that's the Sapphire Towers there. Interesting condos. Just for a side note, out of every building I've ever been to, this is the first building I've seen that actually has a 13th floor. They don't have a 12th floor, but they do have a 13th floor, which I thought was weird. Most buildings in the U.S. don't have a 13th floor. So I'm not sure the history of that or why they skipped the 12th and go straight to the 13th. There is some sort of basketball tournament going on at the convention center down here. But I'm down to 68 miles of range, so I'm going to hit the supercharger and get up to a certain point, then turn the app back on. We got a lot of people out there flying kites. So if someone tells you to go fly a kite, they're telling you to come here. So come on down, fly a kite. Kind of stops a little far back here, but it's proceeding to go on. Now it's defaulting to 25 miles per hour, even though it's 30 here, so I'm up it a little bit here. It's getting over to follow the route. Now, hopefully no one's behind me when I try to get into the hotel, or hopefully no one's trying to get out of the hotel parking lot, so I can show you what it does. Here it comes over here. It should be coming to a stop for this vehicle. Yes, it is. Over there is the sidewalk it keeps wanting to get on if I'm coming from that direction. I don't know why. It would actually roll up on that sidewalk. Okay, we are clear. No one behind me, no one here. This is what it does when it comes into this parking lot. Well, here's a car coming out, so maybe it might do better. No, it's confused. Okay, he moved on. The car moves on and it misses the parking lot completely. So it doesn't like it from this direction. So if I do a UE here, and you know, I'm sorry, but full self-driving needs to learn how to get to the superchargers. It should be able to get all the way to a supercharger and pull up to a supercharger for charging. Here, it shot right past it. It wanted to go the other way, so I'm going to go ahead and nurse it in. For some reason, it just can't see this road. There are no lines on it, so it's understandable. They really need to do some marking on this road. That might help it to know exactly where the road is. And it's coming up. And for some reason the map has it way down there, but it's right here, so it's going to try to go into the condos. I'm taking over yet again. So yeah, we had quite a few little interventions there. What should be a simple drive, but You know, a Tesla full self-driving should be able to take me straight to the supercharger, back into a spot to get ready to charge on its own. Ideally. I'm not saying for it to know how to navigate every parking lot there is. But, and I see we have almost all the destination chargers blocked as usual. Here, chats on here, if anybody joined. Oh, hi, Tectonic. I'm now at destination, about to log off. I hope y'all enjoyed this little live streaming of the full self-driving. I'm gonna go plug in and get the supercharger going here.